I got this feeling. Inside my bones. I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric, baby, when I turn it on. All through my city, all through my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we're in the zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good song in my feet. Feel that hot breath in my body when it drops. Oh, I can't take my eyes above it, moving so phenomenally. You gon' like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm in your clothes. When we're moving, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. All those things I should do, but you dance, dance, dance. There ain't nobody leaving, so stay dancing. I am also lying, lying on, lying up, no feel like on, lying in my city, like on, lying where it on, also lying, like on, lying up, no feel like on, lying in my city, like on, lying where it on. All things I should do, dance, dance, dance. There ain't nobody leaving, so keep dancing. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric, baby, when I turn it on. All through my city, all through my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we're in the zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, that good song in my feet. Feel that hot breath in my body. Oh, I can't take my eyes above it, moving so phenomenally. You gon' like the way we rock it, so don't stop. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. All those things I should do, but you dance, dance, dance. There ain't nobody leaving, so stay dancing. Flying awesome, flying like on, flying up no ceiling, flying in a city like on, flying dirty on, flying like on, flying up no ceiling like on, flying in a city like on, flying dirty on. All those things I should do.
Listen, everyone, before the show gets started, I want to first let you know that you can always support the show via Cash App, Zelle, PayPal. All financial contributions are greatly appreciated, and we really do thank you so much. Now sit back and let's enjoy.
What's going on, everybody? Hope all is well. Listen, hopefully if you all could hear me, just say you can hear me. All of that good jazz and stuff like that. Listen, we're happy to be on tonight. We got a great show for you all lined up. Okay, here we go. Have a great show lined up for you guys. Listen, I'm super excited. My guests are here, and I'm going to bring them on. Hey, y'all. What's going on, everybody? Hey. So I'm going to bring them on. First, I want to introduce Nicole. She is a Life Snatcher, a certified suicide prevention specialist, a proud life survivor. She supplies prevention resources, tools, and strategies to influence people in the community. She's community allies, and the list goes on. Okay, let me go to the other one. Deshawnda is a director of admissions for Fortis College in Dothan, Alabama, BA in communications and criminal justice at Alabama State University. She's a victim advocate, certified paralegal studies. She is certified from American Association of Sexuality Education, counselor, and therapist. Baby, listen, I'm bringing y'all some folks who know what they're doing. Okay, I'm just listen. Okay, I'm gonna be serious. I'm bringing you all some people that know what they're doing, and I'm very happy to do that tonight. All jokes aside, I'm bringing them on. Here is Deshawnda. Here is Nicole. Hey, ladies, how you doing?
Hey.
What's up? What's
I am
up?
very happy to have you guys on tonight because we have been talking about. Okay, that's not how I wanted that to go, but we're gonna leave it like that, anyways. Very happy to have you guys on tonight. Hey, Melanie, what's up, everybody? Super happy to have you guys on tonight because, you know, as you all know, we've been talking about things that's been going on in the church, things that's been going on in marriages, and things of that nature. And you guys are very much so certified in this. And I'm glad that I can be able to bring you guys on that are certified to talk about this because, one, this happens a lot with women and children, and as well as with men. But this happens with women and children a lot. So I want you guys to first just take your time and just kind of like tell us about yourselves one at a time. So Deshawnda, since you're in the corner right here, first you go ahead and then we'll drop down to Nicole.
Hey guys, I'm Deshawnda. Like he said, I do a lot during the day. My regular job, I'm the director of admissions at one of our trade schools here. I coach a dance team, I coach pageants, and not only that, I'm actually a certified sex educator. And when I say sex educator, it's not one of those things where I'm just telling kids out here to go have sex and stuff like that. That's not what it is. It's basically helping them to choose the best way, choose the best life, choose the best path to make informed decisions about the things that occur around that topic. Not only that, but I advocate for victims of typical, just the different forms of abuse. Here in my age level is typically kids till about 21, like 8 till about 21. That's me.
All right, Nicole, go ahead.
What's up? My name is Nicole. I am a suicide prevention strategist. I have survived multiple suicide attempts and I have taught hundreds of people out of suicide. That's what I specialize in. That's what I do every day.
So I brought you guys on because as I said before, we've been dealing with a lot of these topics, and you all saw the situation with the young men with Apostle D.L. Dupree, and you saw all of them. You heard all their stories, and then the young lady that we've been talking about recently, Tammy Reed Shepherd. And thank God she's back home with her family now.
Right.
I don't know, whichever way we go tonight, I just want you guys just to flow. And there are a few people that I do want to bring on. There is Antoine I want to bring on because Antoine has a really strong story. I think he's still in the comments. Let me see. Antoine, are you still in the comments? Let me know if you are. Okay, yeah, Antoine Lyons. I wanted to bring Antoine Lyons on because Antoine has been dealing with that, and I wanted him to be able to share with you all. And I want you all just to be able to just do what you can to tell the people how they can get help, the resources, and things of that nature. It is crazy out here, and people need help by any means necessary. And it's not to say that because you're seeking help that you're crazy. You get what I'm saying? Like when you're seeking help, you want to heal, you want to be better. Mm-hmm. Like, what can I do to just like understand? Because a lot of people feel like they've gone through things that they're broken or they're unrepairable or whatever the case may be. But that's why you guys are here.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
So, Nicole, let me go back to this. You work in suicide prevention with people that go through things like this. How do you talk to people And how do you help people that are dealing, because a lot of people that have been molested or raped or whatever, they deal with suicide. How do you talk to them?
So honestly, I do more listening than talking, because what's most therapeutic for people is for somebody to listen to them. Because we are in the church, we feel like we have to fix everything. We feel like we have to preach to everybody. We feel like we have to give everybody a scripture. Sometimes you just need to let somebody sit down and tell you their life story, and you just sit there and listen to them. And sometimes that's all it takes to point them into the right direction. So I do a whole lot of listening. And then, of course, I empower people to save themselves, because I'm not the Lord. I don't save nobody. But I can empower people to save themselves. Your blood is not going to be on my hands. You know what I mean? Because I don't take responsibility for your life. I take responsibility for my role in your life, and I point you in the right direction. I always tell people to call hotlines and to, do the things they need to do to get the help that they need outside of the church. Statistics show that 40% of people in the Black church get their mental health advice from clergy members. Most clergy members aren't certified mental health professionals. So that means you have people who are getting mental health advice from people who are not mental health professionals. And that's why you see people who constantly struggle with the same thing. And so I refer people to people who specialize in what they're dealing with so that they can get the help they need and not go through the cycle of up today, down tomorrow.
Okay. Now, as far as the suicide hotlines, I want to, oh my goodness, I'm gonna put your website in the comments. So this is Nicole. I'm gonna put your website in the description so that the people know, where they can reach you and everything at. Because again, like I said, I think it is very important that people can understand, like, if for no other reason, that there is somebody that is there that they can talk to. Now, like you said, and I absolutely do agree with you, you ain't Jesus. You can't save everybody. Okay. So, like at the end of the day, like, I'm here to help you, but I can't make you do something that you don't want to do. And I think we were talking about this before with someone else. In wanting to get help, in dealing with suicidal people, you have to want to get help. You have to, like, we can hold your hand for so long, but you got to want to go do something to help yourself. Am I right, y'all?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
Deshawnda, in your role with the counseling and therapist, how would you deal with a suicidal person?
Typically my job is to, the question that I ask is, how did we get here? What got us to this point? And not only that, if you decide to stay, because my approach is a little bit different. My approach is, if you decide to stay, what do you want us to say happened? How did you get here? What happened? Because at the end of the day, I want to go back to the original plot of the movie. I want to know, hey, what happened? Was this church? Was this school? Was this home? Was this something outside? Was this a friend? What got us to this point? And once we find out what got us to this point, what I want to do is, hey, let's see how we can get out of this, because now we got to do some work. Because I can't do more than you can. Because like Nicole said, I can't be responsible for your life. All I'm going to do is help you, because two are better than one. So let's get to where we can see where we got this from, so I can get you the type of help that you need. Because a lot of times people think, especially us, we think that we don't have to get help. If we get help, it's a problem. Like, no, all you need to do is pray. But yeah, let's do that. And let's put some work too, because we can pray all day, but if we're not working, what we gonna do? Let's put some work in. So typically that's what I like to do. Let's get some work done. One of the things that I like to do is I get a piece of paper, like a clean piece of paper. We split it up in 3 sides. I tell them to put, hey, who's your favorite superhero? It could be a cartoon, real life, it don't matter. And then in the next one, I say, hey, who's your favorite TV character? Don't matter who it is. And then if there was a song that I could play for you to introduce you, what would it be? If I was introducing you to the world, what would that song be? And I have them to put those things out there so we can talk about them and get some work done. Because you'd be surprised at the stuff that you have inside of you that can help you come out of what you're in.
Okay. Now, I do want to take this opportunity. I just put you all's information inside the descriptions on the video so that people they can know where they can reach you and everything. Antoine, I want to bring Antoine on. Antoine, I'm gonna send you this link and just come on the video. And I want you, because Antoine is the person, and I don't want y'all to think I'm putting you on the spot, but this is an opportunity to help people publicly know that we're not dealing with fake people. You all are not fake. We've talked about this stuff before. I've talked to you, Nicole. I've talked to you, Deshawnda. And this is because it's another lady. God, what was her name? She has a story too, and I want these 2 individuals to come on, maybe at a separate time. But since I have talked to Antoine. And I told Antoine I wanted him to come on already. So Antoine, hit that link, and I want you to come on and share your story if you can. Not too lengthy, but share your story with us. Antoine, this happened to Antoine a while ago, and he's been dealing with this. And it's another young lady. If she is on, I want her to let me know, because I was supposed to call her back. I promise you I'll be so busy. This is a crazy week. So I want him to come on to share, and just kind of like, guys, just kind of like however you can steer him in the right direction, what things that he could do to help. Okay, here we go. Antoine.
Hey, how you doing, King?
Hey, sir.
Fine, sir.
Oh, Siri trying to talk to me. Antoine, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. I can hear you.
Okay. I want you to come on to tell your story. I know we had talked on the phone, and I think you tried to call me today. And I apologize, I wasn't able to answer, but just tell the ladies your story and just kind of share your story with the audience about your experience with abuse.
Okay. Name's Antoine. My mother, she married my stepdad. She was married for 20 plus years. My stepdad was an abusive man. He also was a preacher as well. He was very abusive, very demanding. I seen him at times where he would hit my mom so hard that her ear would pop. I see him hit my mom with chairs. I see him hit my mom with pipes. Um, he's pretty much he more of a dictatorship person. He dictated what he want done from everybody, from me, my sisters, and everything. He molested my sister and denied it, and had my mom thinking that that it was the other way around, which I saw him do it with my own 2 eyes. But what got me was he got up in the pulpit and preached like none of this stuff was happening. But at home he was a pretty devil, excuse me for putting it that way. And even with whipping me as a child growing up, he whipped me with pipes, cords. He literally took his fist and punched me in the face. And at that time I was a teenager. I wasn't even a grown man at that time. And he was very rough on my other sisters. He was like, if one, he'll whoop us all. And I didn't understand that because at the time I was young, but like as I was sharing with Keith, it has an effect on me as a person. It has an effect on me as my sister. Myself, I'm actually doing counseling. As one of your young ladies alluded, yes, it's good to talk to the pastor. My pastor is a big advocate of, I can talk to you, but you still need to go get professional help. So, I'm doing the professional help as we speak because it's a process that this went on for like 20 plus years. And for that to change, I mean, it's not going to be one of them prayers that is fixed overnight things. It's going to take some time and a process to get this stuff straightened out. Even all the way to the time he died, my stepfather still was trying to be tricky. And I went to visit him right before he passed. And it took all the God of me to go because I had a very hate towards him because of the way he treated my mom and my sister and myself. And so when we were talking, he was trying to say my mom cheated on him, which I know that was not the fact. And so leading up into his death, he still was trying to raise all type of chaos and drama and stuff with trying to split me and my sisters and my mom up. Made a difference with the sisters, and what I didn't understand, because I'm a minister myself, how could he preach and knowing that he would beat my mom like a dog, beating us like a dog after he got out the pulpit? That was mind-boggling. And if anybody's in the experience, it's real. It's real, and it will mess you up. It will affect your self-esteem. It will affect the way you look at things, and it got to the point with me that I literally left the church. I left the church because I was saying, well, if he's like that, everybody else is like that, and that was wrong on my behalf. And my grandmother had to talk to me. She said, "Look, you don't go to church for people. You go to church for you to have your relationship with God and you worship God." So if it weren't for my grandma, I would have never came back to church. If it weren't for her, so I thank God she did it. Me going back was the best thing I ever did because he let me know just because he's acting the fool and doing the stuff. Everybody in church is not like that. So that's the reason why I still go. And I salute King because he stands up for the things that need to be stated and need to be said. And I feel like even all preachers and pastors, they need to address the issues. They don't address them in the church. I would go to the church and say they won't say they don't do it in the black church, which is sad. If you look at the pastors that's out there, none are not trained in psychology or nothing like that. I'll take it any course dealing with that. And I feel like if you go pastor people, you need to at least have one person in the church that's qualified to do it as a church. So we give it back to people. But that's pretty much the gist with me, King, and the young ladies.
Okay, so with Deshawnda and Nicole, because there are so many people that deal with this type of stuff within the church, and not just in the church, but in the secular world too, one at a time, and it doesn't matter what order. How would you help someone like an Antoine?
First, let me applaud you for your story.
Oh, go ahead.
You were gonna go, Nicole?
Girl, go ahead.
First, I applaud you for sharing your story with us because it sounds like a lot that the same thing that people go through a lot in the church. One thing that we got to understand, and I'm glad you had your grandmother, is that a lot of times people blame it on God. Like, God did it, he allowed this to happen. One thing about it, God didn't do it. He did not he did not participate in the foul behavior because we already know he gives us free will to do what it is that we're going to do because, hey, that's what we got. And so what we want to understand is how do we overcome that healing and dealing with the fact that this guy that's up in the pulpit, and I'm going to refer to him as a guy, this guy in the pulpit, he's up here hollering and hooping, telling everybody, hey, get saved, do this, Jesus got this, Jesus got that. And at the same time, we about to go home because I already saw the way he looked. And we about to have an issue. So what you got to understand is it is a deviant behavior because something happened to him. Something happened to him. When, where, we don't know, but something happened to him because some of those behaviors, they're learned. You know, you learn, you watch that. You watch somebody abuse, you watch somebody cuss somebody out, you watch somebody do that. You didn't just wake up one day and decide you just wanted to be, you just want to live foul. So it's a learned behavior. And so when you deal with it as an adult now, I'm glad that you're seeing somebody that is amazing. I want to help people understand God didn't do it. He didn't cause it. So what we got to understand is how are we going to heal from that when we went through that. And only thing we can do, we can get some help, talk to somebody about that thing out to make sure that we're going to get it squared away, because a lot of people, it could take a lot of people out of here with that, because it's hard. It is hard. I had a pastor tell me once before I graduated high school that based on statistics and my family, I wasn't supposed to be nobody.
Oh, wow.
And that took me forever. Like, I still hear it in the back of my mind to this day. That same pastor asked me to hire his son.
Oh, wow.
So who?
He asked me to hire his son. His son needs a job.
Jesus Christ.
So, yeah. Yeah. So it's not God, it's the man, and we can't even deal with him. We have to deal with us. And I'm glad you're seeing somebody about it and we doing some work, you know.
Nicole?
Okay, so this is the King Drive show, and I apologize. I had to come out to my car so I could talk like I wanted to talk because I'm still traveling. But because this is the King Drive show, I'm gonna keep it real. The church enables people to be abusive. Because what you have to understand is that a lot of people who are something in church wouldn't be anything anywhere else. And so they find themselves a position in church, and instead of working out the issues that they have in their own lives by going to therapy, by reading, by doing the things that they need to do, they gain positions of power so that they can abuse other people. Because when they were abused and when they were mistreated, they felt powerless. And so what they do now is they obtain a position of power in the church, and they use that position of power in the church to abuse other people because it makes them feel better about themselves. And so what I want to say to you is that just like Deshawnda said, you have to, number one, know that was not God, and number two, you have to consider the source, because healthy people do not abuse people. And people who are sound in their mind and in their spirit, they don't abuse people. And people who are walking with God with the intent of helping people and leading people to him and doing right and being right, they do not abuse people. And so what we do is we take on the abuse that the abuse that other people put on us, and we embrace that, and we make it feel like that's who we are and that's how we have to be. But you have to consider the source, and you have to realize that the source of your problem is not healthy. The source of your problem is not godly, and anything that is not healthy and that is not godly should not inform your life. It should not inform your identity. It should not tell you who you are. It should not tell you what you can and cannot be. And so what I encourage you to do is keep on going with your therapy, keep on doing the things that you're doing to work on yourself. And anytime something comes to you, whether it's a thought, whether it's something that's abusive, whatever it is, consider who it's coming from. And if it isn't coming from something that's godly, you don't have to take it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to deal with it. And you do not have to allow it in your life or in your space.
I agree 100%.
Now, what do you guys say about this? Ms. Deb said something in the comments. She said there are times when it is not a learned behavior. Children who are neglected in their younger years develop anger issues in the puberty stage. If not treated, they become dangerous and abusive. What do you guys say to that?
I think that's still a learned behavior, because you had to learn how to deal with being neglected.
Sometimes that's the case, but sometimes you can look at it, because with me, I look at it like, this ain't the way to go. And I have kids myself, and I don't treat my kids no way like that, because I knew it was wrong.
Yeah, and it's when we think about, and I'm a true crime buff, so I love like true crime. But when we look at like our known serial killers, We think about like the Ted Bundys and the people of that nature. That was them. They were, they were neglected. They were told they were less than. Parents were, beat the mess out of them just for nothing. And so what they did, they exhibited that same behavior on like animals and like on other people because that's what happened to them. So they did learn to be by themselves. They did learn that my mama don't care about me, or this is why I'm angry, because this is the only emotion that I know. This is the only thing that I follow. And so now I'm angry because this hurt. And it becomes a deviant behavior, and that's unfortunate. And what ends up happening is we fall in, even in church, we fall in love with manipulative behavior, because sometimes we think we fall in love with oh, it's Jesus, I love him, my pastor, he is everything. You actually fell in love with the manipulative behavior of that person. We see that in cults all the time. We see it. That's that type of behavior. You fall in love with that behavior. Why? Because they gravitate to something in you that they know they can take and use against you, and you may not have any idea that that's what they're pulling on, and they pull on that, and that's why they say, "Don't you talk about my pastor?" Oh, no, not my auntie. No, she didn't. Yes, she did. She pulled on that emotion. And it's power that can also be a deviant behavior, because at the end of the day, you can abuse it just like you use it. That's what we fall in love with, because we've all had pastors that we loved and we just admire, and people, until we found out that they was out here living foul. I'm like, wait a minute. And you understand, like, I see this and I see you and I can't do it.
Now, I was, because I know Antoine talked about his mother, and we've been dealing with a lot of, I know I have been dealing with a lot of first ladies and ladies in general who deal with a lot of abuse. Whether it's a younger woman or whether it's a pastor's wife or whatever, that deal with sexual abuse, physical abuse, things of that nature. What I don't even know if there really are signs, because people are good at hiding them, especially church people. How do you help people who are dealing with abuse and they say, if I say something, this could mess up me financially. If I say something, I could lose my position. If I say something, I could lose my children. Because like, this is facts. Like, a lot of people feel like if I say something, or if I run to the police, financially, I'm not going to have anything anymore. If I say anything, he could say something crazy and I could lose my kids. If I say something, he's going to beat me again.
I would say there are ways for you to get help without saying a word specifically about what you have going on. I have a very dear friend who helps people who are in domestic abuse situations, people who are being abused by their spouses. And she is able to help them to get to the point that when they do finally tell, or when they do finally make the police report, or when they do finally do whatever it is they have to do, they're okay. I think sometimes when we're in abusive situations, we're so emotional that we don't take the time to count up the cost, and we don't take the time to plan and prepare. Now, if you're in a situation where you just need to get out, that's one thing. You need to get out. Yeah. But I do think that there is a strategy that can be applied. I mean, you look at slavery. Before there were cell phones and before there were GPSs, those people sat down, and Harriet Tubman said, okay, at this hour, we're going to leave, and we're going to go here, and we're going to go there. You know what I mean? And so now we have so much more available to us. If you are going through something and you need help, there is help available. There are programs that will give you somewhere to stay. There are programs that will give you money, to pay your bills and to do what you need to do. So I don't want you to feel like your only option is to take abuse, because there's too much stuff out here in 2020 for you to have to do that.
Because that's what happened with my mother. She stayed for the sake of us. She took beatings for us and all that stuff. She stayed 20 plus years, and it got to the point she didn't leave until he actually shot a 12 gauge in the house, and that was her sign to I'm out of here. But I looked at
That's it.
because I asked her, you know, when she got out, I said, "What made you stay so long?" She said, "One was for the kids, and another reason she was like, well, I was afraid that people was gonna talk about me." I like, well, about what people say because at the end of the day, they're not taking the beats.
Yeah, there, like you said, Nicole, there is help out there. I know around here, I live in like Lower Alabama, and we see this all the time. And we have places, one that I love. Like I don't even know where this place is. That's how good it is. Like if we have somebody, they come pick them up, meet us right here. I don't even know where it is. I know the name of it. I've never seen it. I probably pass by it all the time and have no idea that that's what that place is. But at the same time, I knew it. She's not a first lady anymore, but she said something to me that I thought, at first I thought it was crazy. And then I thought about it. I said, that is one of the most powerful things I think I've heard somebody say. She said, I got to the point where I was okay with having absolutely nothing, with losing everything. She said, because I did not want to continue to lose. She said, I didn't want to lose me. And she said she would look in her kids' faces, and she said she got to the point where she was okay with having nothing and losing everything. So she did not have to stay there and continue to be ridiculed and manipulated by this man. And she had a friend who actually helped her. And what the friend did, which is also great, what the friend did was they had code words. So whenever she would go somewhere, down here, they do War Eagle, Roll Tide. That's their thing down here. And so she didn't like War Eagle. So that was her code when she needed to get rescued. If she was talking on the phone, she said, yeah, girl, did you watch War Eagle the other day? I mean, it was a good game. And immediately her friend knew, hey, let me come get her. We got to go. And I just thought that was so powerful that she got to the point where she said, I was okay with having nothing, with losing everything.
Yeah, and I mean, that's Bible. You know, there's a scripture in Proverbs that says it's better to eat crumbs in peace than to eat a steak in a room full of arguing and strife, you know. And sometimes your peace is just worth more. It's worth more than your stuff. It's worth more than your house. It's worth more than your image. You know, I'll take peace any day.
Oh yeah, because you gotta get, and it's hard to say when you're not in that position. It's hard to say you gotta choose you. You know, it's hard to get there because you look around and you see everything and who he is, or even who she is. Because women, we can be the ones too. You know, so it's hard to say like, oh my God, I'm gonna have nothing. But at the end of the day, you got to be okay with choosing you, because if you don't choose you, guess who's gonna eulogize you at that program? Him.
Yep.
So
and then he gonna move on with his life like you didn't exist.
If not already.
Right.
Yeah. So this is another situation. So there are a lot of young people who are dealing with this. I mean, I don't want to just make it seem like we're talking about just first ladies or stuff like that.
Right.
A lot of people are really dealing with, especially in this generation, are dealing with a lot of abuse, like sexual abuse, rape, molestation, and they really don't know how to deal with it, because if they tell somebody, they're told that they're lying or that's not true. I did a story probably like a couple months ago, and the young lady, she was on live, and she was just like talking about how when she told her mom beat her up.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'm just like, to me, I can definitely understand that. I've never been in that situation, but I did tell somebody about a situation, and they had replied and said, you know, you just don't want me to be happy. And so it did make me feel some type of way when I told them that. But it wasn't a sexual thing. It was just, hey, this person made a comment, da 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 da, and they replied to me, "You just don't want me to be happy." Now, for me, I felt some type of way, but I just knew I had to just stay there to make sure everything was okay for them. But if it was a sexual thing, I think that I would have felt very awful because I felt like that person wouldn't believe me. And then it would be painful because like I'm having to sit there and endure all this. But on the other hand, I did tell somebody else who did hear me out, and it was like, stuff was acted upon. It was big discussion about all this stuff like that. But it wasn't a sexual thing. But for a lot of people that are dealing with a lot of stuff, like that young lady, excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you.
That young lady, she was going through and she was touched by, like in the video, she was touched by her mom's dude she was talking to and some other people, and she got beat up. What would you do in that situation? And you know what, Antoine, I know I have you on, and I have you on just as an additive. And if you feel like you want to share, please jump in and say something, okay?
Will do, sir.
So, like, what would y'all do with that? I mean, like, seriously, because a lot of people are dealing with things like that.
So what I would say is there is a concept called institutional betrayal. And institutional betrayal is when you go through something in an institution and the people of power in that institution choose the institution over you. So you're in a church or you're in a family or you're on a job and you go there and you say, I have a problem. And the people in power choose the church or the pastor or the job over you. And they leave you feeling betrayed. I think that it's important before you go into your plan of what you're going to do, you have to build a support system around yourself. It's just like if you're about to go to court for something, you get your witnesses, you get your timeline, you figure out what happened, you build your case. And I think sometimes we go into things fighting blind, but we have to remember there are people who will have your back. There are people who the same thing have happened to. And if you notice, that's why a lot of times when one person comes out, 50 people come out, 100 people come out, 277 people come out. You know what I mean? And so I think it's important that before you put yourself in the fire, because it's going to be bad either way because you're in an abusive situation. You know what I mean? But if you count up the cost and you say, this is something that I'm willing to do, you need to get your army together and you need to be willing to fight. And if people say you lying, you know you're not lying. You stand in the truth, and in doing so, the truth will always outlive a lie. But I think too many times people go into stuff like that completely alone, and that's not the way to do it. Two is always going to be better than one. One can always chase 1,000. Two can always put 10,000 to flight. And there's a reason that those biblical principles are there. They're not just for us to shout and turn around 3 times and get stuff. But when we are in danger and when our lives are in danger, we need to apply those same principles. Out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let the matter be established. Those are the things we need to be pulling from when we're dealing with confronting abuse.
Now, Deshawnda, before you say something, Antoine, because you're in counseling now, Deshawnda and Nicole, here is a situation. I put it on the screen. Rena said, what is your advice on healing from abuse from a stepdad? My mom watched and said nothing for years when her husband beat me. What's the first steps of healing?
Your first step of healing, I would suggest that you need to get professional help because this is something you can't deal with on your own. and it can build up in such a way that it can affect you as an adult, even in your relationships. It will affect you in your relationships. Um, I feel like you do need to have that conversation with your mom so you know exactly how you feel. I had to have that conversation with my mom, and it was a tough conversation. I had to let her know how I felt. I had to let her know, why she did what she did. And once we had our conversation, it gave me a little bit clearer understanding, but it still didn't take away from the damage that it done seeing the abuse. Because when you actually see it done, it it's it screws with you. It does mentally. Sometimes you can visualize it happening because you've seen it so much. And and alluding back to what you were saying, Josh, about the young lady, the mom that believe it, that video hit hard because at the end of the day, that's still her child. I mean, that joker could that drop dead tomorrow. That's her child still. And I can imagine how betrayed that young lady felt. And I can also understand how it would mess with your self-esteem, making you feel like you're not good enough. Because with all that stuff happened with me and my stepdad, it made me feel like I wasn't good enough. It made me feel like something was wrong with me. And I'm just getting to the point where I feel like, okay, there's nothing wrong with me, and I am good enough. And here I am, about almost 50 years old. So it can be a long lasting effect on a person if you don't deal with it accordingly.
Yeah. And going back to what you said, dealing with children, I don't have any, but I'm around a lot of kids. And what I've learned about them is these days, you almost don't even have to say anything to them about, because you know how like when we were coming up, we learned about our no spots and what's a good hug, what's a bad hug. We learned about those things because either our parents told us, our grandparents told us. Now, these kids get it by watching the Disney Channel or watching Nickelodeon or something like that. So it goes back to, Nicole said it too, it goes back to like relationships, like when you, with your kids, if you decided to choose someone over them, it's like, okay, so with your children, if your child, when your kids are lying to you, because you had them, that's your child, so if your child came to you and told you something like that, let's say your child came and told you, hey, the teacher don't like me. The first thing you ask, well, what did you do to the teacher? What's going on in the class? Oh, the teacher don't like you? Okay, let's go up there and see what we got going on. And then at that point, if your child is lying, you're like, okay, mom, well, this is what happened before you even went up there. Because guess what? We know it just wasn't the teacher. But when it gets to like a sexual abuse or anything like that, you as a parent, it is your job, and it's sad, but sometimes they don't do it. It is your job to notice different behaviors in your child. If one day your child is up skipping and hopping around, and then the next day or the next week, you notice that they don't even want to go outside. They don't even want to, do the same things. You have to probe. You have to see what's wrong with my child. What happened? And in that video, it hurt so bad to watch that this lady decided to choose dude over her baby. And your daughter is literally crying out to you, mama, this is what happened. But like Nicole said, there is help out there. Like there are people out there that want to help you. And it's one of those things where even if you are afraid to ask, it's all, even if it's a teacher or if it's a coach or something like that, because with kids these days, they gonna tell you like it is. Every day you have to come circumspectly when you with kids, because they gonna tell you, listen, ma'am, Jesus who? And he did what? Well, why did he do that? Well, why does he look like that? So it's not like we were where they told us because I said so. No, it ain't no because I said so. But these, you got to know what you're saying and you got to know what you're doing. And that's also good because when I was growing up, the different types of, and I know it's not one of our topics, but my mom, she abused substances. Like it was a mess, and so as I equate it to having a tornado rip through your town. Okay. it takes years to replace that stuff. It may not even be replaceable, but the person gets help, but they want to come back and say, "Oh, baby, I'm sorry." It takes years to fix what a tornado breaks. And like you said, Antoine, you're 50 something years old. It takes years to get through that. And like they tell you at substance abuse meetings, hey, once an addict, always an addict, but you got to get through it. You can't fall back into it.
Yeah, and I just want to add, when it comes to the whole thing about the stepdad, we have to always remind ourselves that when people abuse us, it's not our fault. And that sounds so simple, but in your body, you carry the trauma of the things that happen to you. And you have to be proactive about releasing that stuff and standing in the mirror and saying, this person abused me and it was not my fault. This person abused me and I did not deserve it. Because your brain rewires itself when you're abused. You know what I'm saying? When you're hurt, when you're betrayed. And so you have to be proactive and say, I didn't deserve this. I didn't do anything. Because if you don't, you'll continue to find yourself in relationship with people that do the same thing, because that's the only resemblance of love you have. And so that's why when you see generations of kids or people where the granddaddy abused the grandma, and then the mama married somebody who was abusive, and then the daughter married somebody who's abusive, and she's like, well, he pays all the bills, he takes care of me. You know what I mean? Because that's the only frame of reference that person had for love. And so one thing that you have to be careful of is you have to rethink and reimagine what it is to be loved. And it's okay for you to sit down and say, I require this of the people who say they love me. I require that you treat me well. I require that you don't abuse me. And if people can't live up to the standards that you set for yourself when it comes to being in a relationship, you don't have to have those people in your life. You have to know that you have the power, and regardless of what has happened to you in the past, you still have the power to set the tone for how you'll be treated in the future.
Okay, another question from a young lady. Her name is Shayla Johnson. I'm gonna go to that, and then I'm gonna go to another one. Shayla Johnson says, "How do you deal with taking your life?" Well, she said my life, so her life.
What do you mean? How do you deal with it? Like if you're thinking about it?
Yes.
Okay, so for me, well, I mean, there's a lot of things. So for one, you need a safety plan. And a safety plan is a thing that keeps you safe when you're going through a crisis. You need a plan. Like, who do I call? Another thing you can do is you can download the Not Okay app. And the Not Okay app has like 5 trusted people that you can press a button, and the app will contact them and be like, Shayla is not okay. And then those people can reach out to you. Now, the key to that is you have to find people who are safe. So what I mean by that is, if I reach out to you and you make me feel worse, you're not safe. If I reach out to you and I say, Jives, I'm really upset, I'm really having a hard time, and you lecture me, you're not safe. So those aren't the people that you call. You find the people that are going to say, okay, where are you? Okay, what are you near? What do you have around you? Okay, put your knives up. Okay, put everything away. I'm coming to get you. You need people like that. And so the most important thing is to find a way to keep yourself safe. And then the other thing, you have to find help. Even if you can't afford to go to therapy, you can watch YouTube videos about people. You can follow people who are suicide prevention people. There are therapists on Instagram who are licensed and certified therapists who post Instagram posts every day that will tell you about your whole life and everything you've been through for the free 99. So you go and you follow all them 10, 15,000 people, and they're going to help you with what you're going through until you can get to the point where you can get help. But the most important thing is that you find a way to keep yourself safe when you're having those thoughts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like Nicole said, that I love the app because I actually have it. Because I've never, like, we all have that place that we go, that dark place in our mind that we go to sometimes, and you need somebody to take you out of there. I just so happen to live in a small town, and my dad is the chief of police. And so anytime I go 2 days, 3 days, even with my big grown self, they will send somebody over here. Like, they will send a wellness chick. I call them his goon squad. They will send somebody over here. I'm like, I am fine. Can I just have a moment? But I appreciate that because there are times when I'm not okay. And it's always good to have somebody to do that. And like you said, don't have somebody that's going to lecture to you. Well, why are you doing it? Well, what's wrong with you today? Well, yesterday we was just, don't have those people. Have those people, where you at? Okay, I'm on my way. Don't even worry about it, because that is important to your healing process. That's important to restructuring your mind. Like we've said before, that is important. And I think I seen a question where somebody said sometimes the services that they use was something about the services that didn't work. I completely understand when you say, well, what if I reached out to the services and they didn't work? Listen, we got one around here now that we're trying to take him up out of here, because they abuse it too. They abuse the power, because power, like I said, it could be a deviant behavior. Power and them some dangerous things now. Ooh, they dangerous, especially now in this pandemic that we got going on. It's dangerous. And so when you are abused by that, yeah, I understand. At that point, you come standoffish. You don't want to deal with nobody that's certified in any of that. But like Nicole said, on YouTube, on Instagram, even on Facebook, these people are certified. They have their degrees and all that stuff, and they can help you for free. That's one thing I can say about this whole situation we're in this country. We've gotten some free stuff that we otherwise would have had to pay a lot of money for. Mm-hmm. We just have to know how to use our resources or find people that can help us get those resources, and sometimes it's an imbalance, we got to check, go to the doctor, check what we got going on. Sometimes it can be an imbalance too.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you need them good old pills.
Sometimes you got to go get. Sometimes I'm not saying we're not saying that you got to be drugged up, but
if you
just
need
like you take a
pill,
Tylenol for a headache, right? Just like you take a Tylenol for a headache, it's okay. It's okay. It is okay.
I'm having allergy situations over here. So from what I'm seeing, especially in the comments and stuff like that, a lot of people, when you say taking medicine, I think we need to be very specific when we say that, because a lot of people will think that medicine will fix the situation. But, from what I do know is that it just kind of, in a sense, it helps take that edge off, and it really does calm you down so that you're able to function. So, in essence, when I am tired, when I'm sleepy, when I'm tired and I feel a little stressed, maybe I shouldn't say this. But they have those medicated weed.
Oh Lord.
Testify.
Right.
Testify.
They have those medicated weed gummies. Now I can't take them often because they make me go down. I take one. I'm taking 4, but I take one and I can feel myself just kind of like.
So 4, was you flying?
Oh, listen, I took 4 of those because I was like, I had a long day. I need to go to sleep somewhere. I want to go to sleep, period. Like, I want to sleep all day. That's why I took 4. I mean, it's it's a natural substance, but you know, when they put you down, they put you down. I mean, you're gonna come back up, but I mean, I want to be put down.
I mean, like you said, let's be clear. We're not telling anybody to go out here and just, you know, go see the local man. We're not saying that. What we're saying is, just like you go to the doctor, right? When we go to the doctor, you have to get, just like your blood pressure. If the doctor told you, man, your blood pressure is high,
go ahead.
just like if the doctor say, hey, baby, your blood pressure is high, we got to get it down. They give you some medicine. They say your vitamin D is a little low. They got to give you some medicine. Hey, they say, hey, you need to take you a multivitamin to keep things going. That's what we're saying. And when you go and they say, hey, there might be a chemical imbalance, and they want to help you and they give you a low dosage, that's okay, because as African Americans, we think that getting help is not for us. We think, well, that's not something we do, right? That ain't what my grandma did. Well, let me tell you about your grandma. Where's she at? What happened? What happened to her? What happened to grandma? I can't stand
grandma has
I can't stand him.
I
can't stand him.
I just want people to know this is medication.
Oh my God, are they Sour Patch Kids? I can't.
Yeah, these are yeah.
But I do agree with you. Sometimes it does take a pill. I actually take 3. Not put my business on it, but I take Wellbutrin, I take Lexapro, and I take Trazodone. Because the first 2, it affects your sleep. So the Trazodone is what helps me sleep. So I am an advocate of a low dosage, like you said, ma'am.
Yeah.
Because it does help. I mean, it keeps balance. I'm not as booty. I'm not like that with it. And even what John said, you know, those are good too. Because actually, I even tried hemp and CBD. That's good. You know.
And to be honest, that stuff can help you help somebody else, because you taking that, because my anxiety be through the roof. The people that I work with, they are okay with it because they know if not, I'm coming through here and it's not gonna be okay. So it helps you help people too, because you know, you know, but all jokes aside, it is something that you can look into, because it's a help too.
Well, one thing I know when I take these, a lot of people know exactly when I'm on these. And some people don't, like, because sometimes I'll take these and I'm just like super chill. Like somebody be going out and they know they aggravating. And they're like, did you take a gum today? And you know how you
right.
Going on watch business, like I don't know, man, like I didn't feel like it. Now, if I'm not on these, like honestly, like I do know how to. Oh Lord, I do know how to like control it. But some days, you know how you just have to have something to help you get through the day. So I'll take one of them things, and I'm just like, "You okay? I'm fine. I'm just not gonna deal with no stuff. I'm real calm. I'm gonna stay right here." And I think when you take some of that stuff too, you just kind of like you can avoid a lot of drama, if that makes sense.
And keep your energy together. And I mean, even if you think about, like, I know my grandma, and like y'all can't call CPS on her because she's resting in peace. But when I was sick, my grandma would give me like whiskey and orange juice, and I was like 5. You know what I'm saying? Because like old people, they knew about them herbs and that grass and that stuff, and like, you know, they helped us. Yeah.
Whiskey and orange juice.
Whiskey. Let me tell you something. If you get you now, I'm not telling nobody to do this. Don't try this at home. But from what I hear, from what I've been told, if you have, you know, little congestion or whatever, and you get you some whiskey and you put it in some orange juice and just a teaspoon of sugar, from what I've been told in my life, it'll get you right. I mean, I heard.
Listen, you can't get away from these things of the old because that's what kept them, honestly, because that's all they had.
They won't run into the doctor all the time. They was in that garden picking them.
And still won't.
Still.
They still won't. And so, I mean, those are the type of things. Look at him. I can't.
So, okay, guys. So, like, this coming month is, oh God, my nose is, I don't know if this, because I was cleaning up today. So, this coming month, I think tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Let me see.
October 1st.
Yep, October 1st. October 1st is Domestic Violence Month, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and it's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it's something else. But since being that it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we're going to be talking about a lot of this. There have been a lot of stories that I have covered as it relates to domestic violence, and whether it's male or female. I know, Nicole, you said something. No, that wasn't Nicole. That was Deshawnda. You were saying something about keywords and things like that. Because we are coming back on, we're going to do this. What would you say to people, especially young people or people that are dealing with this with their relatives and stuff, like dealing with this because this is going on in the homes on a regular, and people really, Daniel said, I need some whiskey and orange juice.
I'm telling you, glory to God.
Uh-oh.
How do you, how, what would you say to somebody that is dealing with domestic violence in their home, and they may be scared, they may be nervous? Because I know Antoine has said he was dealing with that when he was younger with his stepfather and his mother. How would you deal with that, even if that was your friend or maybe just an acquaintance or somebody just walked up to you and said, hey, this is what I'm dealing with? How would you deal with that?
I think I'll go back to what
I would.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
My bad. No, go ahead.
Okay, so for me, I would connect them to a professional. And this is why I say this. Y'all, domestic violence is one of those things. People will kill you. Like, you will break up with somebody and they will, like, murder you. And you will cease to exist. Like, you will run out the house with all of your stuff and go to your sister's house. And they will go to your sister's house and murder you. And you will no longer be here. And so I think that one of the things that I really try to do when it comes to domestic violence is put them in touch with somebody who knows the ins and outs of, like, what you say when you get a restraining order, what you say in court, what you do. Do you change your name? Do you run? Because I don't really know nothing about that. But it is such a complicated issue. And it's literally a life or death situation because people will live, and especially in the Black community, people will kill you. You know what I mean? And so I think it's important to find domestic violence resources. And I think that we as women, especially, this is stuff we should just know. We should have this stuff in our phone. We should have like a domestic violence contact in our phone and put the numbers in there. We should have a note. We should have something. If you're at the mall and you see somebody getting beat down, you ought to be able to drop them a contact and be like, look, sis, I can't really, but these are some people you can call. So I just think we need to be proactive and already know where to send people.
And just like you said, it goes back to, of course, the app. It goes back to relationship. It goes back to who you know. It goes back to who you have a close relationship with, especially with domestic violence. It's one of those things. Your friends are probably mutual friends. And so if I would, so you have to go out outside of those people and find you people that their sole interest is to make sure that you're okay. Because what happens is you get the mutual friend, you know how we do. Well, why did she call me and tell me that y'all over there cutting for what happened? And that makes it worse. We had a situation like that not too long ago in Montgomery. I don't know if it was on the news in Montgomery, Alabama. This lady was a cop and she had left this guy, completely left him. Like, I ain't dealing with you. We broke up everything. He found her and he actually killed her because it was one of them things. If I can't have you, can't nobody have you. And they do the coward thing. They do the coward thing and take themselves out too. So you gotta know, like I said, code words, have an escape plan. I'm not like, even if you're not in a relationship, and I tell people this all the time, even if you're not in a relationship, but you anticipate being in a relationship, still have a plan of escape just in your mind, just for anything. Because, as women, our parents, our moms and stuff, they tell us that you have your separate bank account, girl, but it's the same thing. Have a plan of escape because you never know, And like I said, I'm a true crime buff. So at the end of the day, at the core, there's a piece of homicidal maniac back there somewhere. So you have to have a plan of escape. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter if he's the love of your life or she the love of your life. At some point, something can make her snap. We don't know. Always have a plan for everything. Even if it's as small as going next door, or if it's small as sending that little text message to somebody in your phone saying, "Hey girl, what's up?" And that's your code word. Or you walking in the mall and you see somebody going crazy, like, "Hey, girl, listen, I got some sunglasses. Come over here and look at them." You gotta know. It goes back to us having relationships and being there for each other. Because we said it earlier in Ecclesiastes, it said, two or more than one, a cord, a band together. Hey, that's stronger than one by itself.
I think another thing is we like to use a lot of, I know especially church groups, we like to use a lot of church stuff to just kind of smooth things over and, we're going to pray and God will work it out. Listen, the Bible says that we perish for the lack of knowledge. And see, if and also it also say we perish because we reject knowledge too. Tonight we have been giving a lot of knowledge. If something happens to you, thank you, Danielle, for putting this up. If something is happening to you and you fail to say something, to send a smoke signal or tweet, something, it's because you rejected to do something for yourself. Because you have to realize that your life is valuable. And if you don't feel that it's valuable to you, trust me, it's valuable to somebody else. Taking yourself out of here is not the answer. Or if I just take myself out of here, I can just do away with it, I'll just get rid of the pain. I mean, you're going to get rid of the pain, but you're not going to be able to experience what freedom is like. You won't be able to experience what happiness is like. And you never gave yourself the opportunity to say, you know what? If I get free from, let's just say hypothetically, this no good man or no good woman, what would it feel like to actually be happy? If all you have ever dealt with is abuse, some people think that that's it. And they want to say, I'm done with it, I'm over with it. There is a place of happiness out here, and you have to want that. You have to want to put yourself there. And like you were saying, sometimes you may be dealing with somebody who say, well, if I can't have you, can't nobody else have you. Well, my nigga, I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to get far from you, and I'm going to make sure I got a protection plan. You know what? It just came to my mind. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Lord. If y'all remember the movie Enough, y'all remember the movie Enough with Jennifer Lopez? she had to develop a plan and a strategy. I mean, she did kill the man, but she had to develop a plan and a strategy to break free from Mr. Jail, right? What else?
Mm-hmm.
She had to develop something, and she did a lot of things, and she had to learn how to fight back because this man was not going to let her be happy. She decided to run away. She decided to get away, and he did whatever he could to try to find her. And he was going to ultimately take her out of here. And so she had to also, what she did was she told one of her friends, and then she also took on some taekwondo, and she eventually wanted to fight back. Daryl said Jennifer whooped that ass.
She chose her. She chose her. At the end, she chose her and her baby. That's who she chose. And then Color Purple, you remember Miss Sophia said, you better bash Mr. over the head and think about heaven later. Because if you keep instructing your son, you're going to have a daddy.
That part.
So,
and
hey, choose you.
And also what a lot of women need to understand, especially women, that if you're dating someone or a man that can overpower you, is bigger than you or whatever, make sure you know how to have self-defense. You gotta be able to defend yourself. Because just because the man is big does not mean he can't go down. Okay? And that goes for females, that go for men, whatever, it don't matter. Learn how to defend yourself. And I'm gonna say this to the ladies, because this needs to be said. If you know your man is not gonna hit you back, that does not mean you keep putting your paws on him. Because is it okay to say that? Okay.
Go ahead. You can't be putting your hands on folks. Don't put your hands on nobody.
If you keep putting your hands on that man and he turn around and to slap you out and you lay down.
It's called fight or flight. Fight or flight, because you're gonna keep on nagging, you're gonna keep on.
I'm not telling y'all that it's okay for a man to hit a woman, and I'm not saying it's okay for a woman to hit a man, but I'm saying if the person is trying to be the bigger person and they're deciding to walk away, let that person walk away. You do not know if that person has a blackout spot or whatever, and if that person blacks out and they end up knocking you smooth out, I mean, am I right, y'all? Am I right to say that?
No, because it's a real thing. It goes both ways. Abuse
temporary insanity.
Yeah, abuse goes both ways. And I don't know why people don't think. Sometimes people don't think that, but it goes both ways.
I just want to make sure I was right in saying it. I don't want nobody to think that I'm promoting violence like this. I'm being honest about it because it's like it was a story with a preacher, and the backstory I know that she just antagonizing that man, and then that man just hauled off and just slapped the mess out of her, just beat the hell out of her, and then she was talking about, oh, he beat me. Well, damn. Like, I mean, you was slapping a man and poking a man, and you ain't gonna do that, nigga. All this right here, and slapping them and pushing them, and I think you push a person when you get to that. First of all, it's not just you just started doing all this and then they just pop off. It's a buildup of things that'll make a person just go smooth. If you've been talking to a person crazy and they really trying to just be respectful, and then you just end up one day just pushing that button too far, and they end up just going all the way off, and it's like. I ain't mean to whoop your ass like that. I just didn't mean to go that far, but
But you're right, King. My mom got away with. Actually, my stepfather got arrested They got arrested and spent time in prison for that. So that's when, like the young lady said, she left the house, just took her clothes, my two sisters, and they moved to a complete whole different city and started over from scratch.
So,
Yeah. What we're saying is just don't let it get that far. Get some help. Check out your local police departments. They do self-defense classes, especially for women. The sheriff's department, they do self-defense classes. They do those things, not just for men, but for women as well. What we're saying is don't let it get to that point where everybody's throwing hands and somebody not going to be here no more.
so I want to.
And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna just plug this in right quick.
Go ahead, Nicole. Go ahead.
In light of what happened yesterday, with the presidential debate, I think you need to take a self-defense class anyway.
Yes, Lord.
Whether you single, married, with somebody, not with somebody. I think you
do.
in 2020, you need to take a self-defense class anyway.
Clear vision.
You do.
I agree with you.
You do.
Clear vision. Clear vision. 20 clear vision.
100%. They go to the point of getting you a gun permit. By the way, it's
Disagree with the gun permit, and the reason why I say that is because my uncle said something to me a long time ago. He said, well, he told me, he said, Mario, you may not want to get a gun because if you got a quick temper, you'll end up snatching that mug out real quick, you know. And I know me, I don't have a quick temper, but I know if it's a build up there, like I'm in a, hey, bro, what up? You know, I mean, not like that.
I won't even do it. I won't do it. I won't do it because my attitude, and if I get to the point where I'm like, wait a minute, I'm better off taking Taekwondo. I'm better off doing that.
I agree, John, because my wife would not let me go because of the way I draw. So I agree with that.
I do agree. I agree and disagree with the gun permit. Like, I mean, I think everybody needs to have a permit, license to carry. I do agree that we need to have and take self-defense. We need to know how to defend ourselves. We also need to have a system of people around us that we can trust. Like, I ain't talking about somebody who go back and tell your partner, your best friend, what you just told them. Like, hey, if I tell you something, I need you to hold this in confidence, and I need you to be watching. So if I wink my eye 2-3 times, you know something wrong. You know, if I go woo, you know, oh, okay.
Have you a code? It goes back to codes. Have you a code?
If I tweet you and say, bird is in the cage.
You laughing, but anytime I go out of town, because I go so much, there is a code word I give my family just in case somebody decides to act retarded, and I have to be like, "Hey, did you catch the Bama game the other day?" And they know I don't care nothing about no Roll Tide, no war. I don't care nothing about it. But if I say, "Hey, did you catch the Bama game the other day?" Oh my goodness, Roll Tide! They already know. Oh my God, problem. Because my code name is Operation Diva Fly, you know, whatever. But they know if I say Roll Tide, it's the problem.
Listen, so
just say
what I want to do is, Daniel says certified concealed permit. What I want to do is we're going to come back because I know tomorrow we're talking about abuse. Let me see. Do I have it on here? Let me see. Oh my those. Yes. Okay. Tomorrow we're talking about domestic violence, abuse, murder, Me Too movement with Sabrina McKenzie. Tomorrow, And today with the girls has been a phenomenal thing. And I thank you guys so much for coming on Tuesday. Now this may move to a different day because we're trying to get some other people to come on, and depending upon their availability or whatever. But tomorrow we're talking about domestic violence, abuse, murder, and the Me Too movement. And if you guys are available tomorrow, it will be really great to have you guys on because, again, you guys are counselors, you guys are instructors, you guys are motivational individuals and stuff. If you all can come on tomorrow, that'll be good. Just to add input. Sabrina is involved with government and things. And so it would be good to have that discussion with you two as well. So if you guys are available tomorrow, let's do that. Although you guys are going to come back again because all month long we're talking about domestic violence and things of that nature. So if you guys can tomorrow, that'll be good. I want to hold too much. Listen, since they're giving up on their time, listen, y'all put your cash apps up in them comments. And I want y'all to be a blessing to them for just them being and giving their time. And although this is an opportunity, and I'm bringing people that I know on so that they can share their gifts, share their talents on my nose, share their gifts, share their talents, and be able to help other people because you know what? We rarely do this in our community. Hear me? We rarely do this in our community. And it's like, people want help, but they feel like I can't find help because I feel like I have to pay for it. And that usually is the problem sometimes. They feel like they have to pay for it, so they don't want to say anything, you know. My sister, you know, we were dealing with some things at a point, and we just had to let her know because I saw her in the comments one time. But just having to let her know that when it comes down to abuse, especially when it's been years of stuff, you have to want to get the help. You can't just sit back and be like, oh, I'm hurting. What do you think about that? I'm hurting.
That's right.
I'm having a bad day today. I'm having an episode. No, like if you want to stop going through that, and those feelings, you have to want to talk to somebody about why you are dealing with some of the things that you are and what are the steps that I can take to be able to not deal or go through those type of situations. Someone just said in the comments, Stephen, they said I was on medication for clinical depression and anxiety. Mental illness is no joke. I am a mental health advocate and believe that you can take care of you. Absolutely. Danielle just put up Nicole's Cash App right there. Y'all be a blessing to her. Deshawnda, she just put up her Cash App. Y'all listen here. Listen, don't do what people's wrong, okay? Y'all do something, okay? Like dead serious. I want people. Listen, this is valuable, just like yesterday. This is valuable information, okay? Valuable information. Don't take this lightly. If you guys need help, reach out to them. Deshawnda, you can reach out to her on Instagram. Nicole, you can reach out to her on Facebook. Nicole, you got Instagram too? Nicole?
My Instagram is my name, Nicole Watson.
Okay, y'all look up Nicole Watson on Instagram, and Antoine is on social media as well. What is your, because again, Antoine is a testimonials of just of wanting to get the help, and he's still going through it. but I believe he does, and he can help other people as well too. So tonight, I want to say thank you to all of my guests on tonight. I think I'm gonna have to go take a clarity to something because this is not right. I want to say thank you to all my guests tonight for being here. Tomorrow we're going to get ready for the show. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you all for being on. And tomorrow, guys, I look for you all to be here at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So, anyways, I will talk to you guys a little later. I gotta get myself together. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Be blessed.
Bye.